Okay, what we've got created so far is a spreadsheet that lists a number of months, the sales of those months for routers, switches and cable. We've done maximum, minimum, average. We've played with some functions and some formula. Not entirely a useful spreadsheet, just designed basically to get you back into the run and an idea of how to work on spreadsheets. To make this a little bit more useful, we want to identify what the salesmen are actually producing. This is sales after all, there will be salesmen selling them, so let's find out what the salesmen have sold each. Reasons for doing that? Well, there's business reasons. Do we have a salesman who isn't performing? Do we have salesmen who are overperforming and can be rewarded for that? What's the situation with our salesmen? Go down to the bottom of the sheet, and on sheet 2 I would like you to rename that sheet to January. We're going to call the sheets by the different months, and then we're going to put into here the salesmen and what they've sold for each of those months. So there's January. The next sheet along, well, shockingly, we're going to rename that February. We're now going to rename this one March. Oh, let's spell that properly. March. And we will rename the last one April. Okay, so we've got January, February, March and April. If we are going to put some repeating data in here, and that's what we're going to do, we're going to say that we've got so many salesmen and they've made sales on routers, switches and Cat5 cable. And it's going to be the same format on each of the different tabs, January, February, March and April. What we need to do is join those together so we only enter the data once. So click on January, hold Control down and click on February, then click on March, then click on April. You'll see that they're slightly lighter than the rest of them. We can now enter our data, so we will put in our 3 salesmen in this case, just to make it relatively simple. We've got John. Press enter to go down so that we can then put in Sahal and press enter, and then we can do Gwen. Along the top of this, we're going to say that they are obviously selling routers and switches and tab to go across, Cat5 E cable. Right, we're going to put in some totals as well because we always want a total. It's great fun and business sense. And we've got total and total. So that done, if you right click on there and ungroup the sheets, so we're now back to January, if you click on February and you click on March and you click on April, you will see all of that data is set in there. So we've got everything organised. In January then, if you can enter the following data. John sold 100 quid worth of routers, press tab. 200 quid worth of switches, press tab, and 200 quid worth of Cat5e, press return. Sahal has sold 200 quid worth, then press tab, and tab again because he didn't sell any switches, what a slacker. And 150 quid worth of Cat5 cable, and Gwen has sold 100, tab 100, tab 150. Enter. We're going to sum those things up, so do what you've done previously, highlight that, use the sum function, bang, and then highlight down there and use the sum function and bang. There we go. We can say exactly who's selling what, and at the moment in January John was very, very good. So go to February. In February, John sold 50 quid's worth of routers, 75 quid's worth of switches, and 120 quid's worth of cable. Enter. And Sahal has sold £100 worth, tab, and £75 worth, tab, and £40 worth. enter, and Gwen has sold 50, tab, 50, tab, and 40, enter. Let's do the sum and the sum. That's March, February done. Let's move to March. We have £100 of switches for John. We have 40 quid's worth of switches, tab, and £130 worth of Cat5 cable. And then Sahal's done 100, 20, and 120. Press enter. And Gwen has done 100 and 40 and 150. Press enter. Let's do our sums again. Auto sum, and then auto sum down there. This month we can see they're all pretty much even. Right, finally April. So John's done 150, tab, 100, tab, and 30, enter. Sahal has sold £150 worth of routers, £250 worth of switches, and £10 worth of cable, and enter. Gwen has done £200 worth of routers, £150 worth of switches, and £60 worth of cable. Okay, let's do our auto sum and our auto sum, and there we go. So there's a number of things we can do from this information. If we go back to the first sheet, go to basic spreadsheet, front sheet, and we delete all of that information there, that changes everything on the sheet because it's all automated. But we're now going to take January details. So we need to know how many routers were sold in January. So we put in equals, go to the January sheet, and that is our router total for January. So we press enter, and that does it. Our January total for switches equals January switches, enter. And our total for Cat5 cable equals the January total, that, and enter. In February, those are our totals there, so we're going to do equals for routers in February, that, enter. Our total for switches in February, don't forget to keep going to February, is that, and enter. And our total for cabling in February was that, enter. Okay, in March we're going to do equals the March and the total for routers in March, press enter, equals March, the total, and enter, and equals for Cat5 cable in March, the total, and enter. Going to April then very quickly, there, and the total for there, and equals there, and there, and there, and equals April, and Cat5 cable, and enter. Okay, we've done all that. It now automatically updates if something changes in January, February, March or April. If some new information comes in, something needs changing on a particular salesman's information, then that will automatically feed through to this front sheet. So in January, for instance, if we find out actually Sahal had sold 300 quid's worth of switches, which if you put that in and press enter, we can now see that the spreadsheet for switches in January has gone up significantly, and it's all going to feed through absolutely automatically. If you can then very quickly just go through and format the cells so that they are currency to 2 decimal places. Now this again is something where if you're clever you're going to think, okay, well I'm not going to waste my time doing that so much, I'll do it there and there because it's all in the same place. I'm going to highlight it all once, I'm going to format it all once, and I am going to call it currency once. Bang, and it's all done. Everything feeds through automatically. The spreadsheet is now starting to do something that is a little bit more useful for the business. You can see how your salesmen are performing, you see what you're selling, you see what stock you're selling, and for a business you can also start to see what the trends are. And looking at this, we now need to maybe visualize the trends as charts or graphs, which we'll do in the next session.